DDG, episode 225. My name is Dave, and I'm joined by Michael.
How's it going, Dave? I feel like anytime we take time off, it takes a couple minutes to get used to everything. I had a bad cable, couldn't get my headset working.
I came down here with enough time to be prepared for our intelligent meetings that we have every 12 days. Like, I was pre-ready. I went and re-signed into all the stuff to make sure I can connect. And here you come, like, lollygagging in here, not connected.
It turns out my favorite, like, extra long USB-C cable went bad, and I'm
going to need you to come prepared to these important meetings that are on your calendar.
Yeah, I mean, in my head, the calendar says 7:15. I tell you 7, but in my head, it's like, I got till 7:15.
Yeah, even today, my wife's like, you got to go. I'm like, he's not even on Discord. I'm
going to be late. It's either I'm going to be late, or if I'm on time, Dave's going to have technical difficulties. Like, that's how it usually works. So we prefer if I'm late.
So now you're going to be late and had technical difficulties.
Yeah.
That's how it goes?
Okay. So I'm just adding to it. Keeping spicy. It's 225 episodes.
Yeah. We are Digital Days Gaming. We're typically a weekly podcast, except for when news is really slow, which is why we took last week off. Weekly podcast that posts every Thursday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern time on podcast services. Please consider leaving us a review on those. If you can type words, it helps move us up in algorithms. The show has slightly stagnated in growth. I don't really care about growth. Overall, I'm having a great time having a conversation with Michael and interacting with the community. However, it does look kind of cool to see a number go up every once in a while. So if you could please consider leaving a review, that is super helpful to get it on showing up on recommendations and algorithms and all that stuff. So if you haven't left a review and you've been listening to us for 225 episodes, please leave a review. It's just a little helpful, and just kind of, just even seeing a spike of like 10 new people listening kind of just usually kind of gives me like a little bit of a dopamine hit where I get a little bit more energized to do something. That's just kind of how I function. Otherwise, the stagnation kind of gets to me, but it is what it is. I love all of you that listen. I love all you that download, interact, text me, message me, all that stuff. It's great, but I would love to get some new people in our community and have some new friends and things. So please consider checking that out, as well as just directing them to the website, digitaldaysgaming.com. If they want to see our ugly mugs on TVs, monitors, iPhones, tablets, whatever, you can go to twitch.tv/digitaldaysgaming, where you can watch us live on Twitch when we broadcast the show. So tonight's being Wednesday night, about 8 o'clock Eastern time. You can also subscribe to us on Twitch if you'd like. It's a paid subscription, or you can link your Amazon account to your Twitch account and get Prime Gaming, and you get a free sub to the streamer of your choice. So he hasn't been on Twitch for a couple years, but if you used to watch Dr. Disrespect and you gave him a subscription, give that to us. That'd be great.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, you should have done that a long time ago, but now you have even more reason to do that. No, he's been banned on yeah.
I know, yes. Or you can watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/digitaldaysgaming. Same thing, live on YouTube, simulcast on YouTube and Twitch. You can follow, or you can subscribe on YouTube. That's free. And then you can also always watch the archived live stream if you want to see us, or you can listen to the audio version through YouTube. So I know a lot of people during the summer, not as much, but a lot of places that if you're on school Wi-Fi, library, college Wi-Fi, sometimes they tend to block certain things. YouTube is not, because it's considered an educational site somehow. So you can always listen or watch us on YouTube. And then you can also just check out all of the links in the show notes, or just go to digitaldaysgaming.com. And that will get you to wherever you need to get to see previous episodes and look at all the other stuff. Discord, Facebook, Patreon, PayPal, everything is linked there on that page or in the show notes below. So again, please leave a review, and please check your subscription on Twitch. Those are two things that are very helpful to our show and are much appreciated. So, all right, we're going to jump right into some news.
Yeah, so since we were gone for 2 weeks, we missed some stuff. This one is a couple weeks old, but it kind of just slipped right by. I feel like a lot of news outlets weren't reporting on it until the last week or two. And that is PSVR 2's PC adapter has a release date and price. And that is a release date of August 7th and a cost of $59.99. It'll be available PlayStation Direct as well as other partnered retailers. So this is the adapter that's going to allow you to use your PSVR 2 on your PC via Steam. The adapter does require a DisplayPort cable. I think it's 1.4 to make that connection. But this is something that I think a lot of people have been waiting for, but they were immediately kind of disappointed because it will be losing some features when it comes to PC. So if you connect it to PC, you will be losing HDR you'll be losing headset feedback, eye tracking, adaptive triggers, and haptic feedback. There'll still be rumble, but not the haptic feedback. So you're losing those features, making a jump to PC with that. And I think that's the more newsworthy thing, is people were looking forward to this. There are also people like us kind of thinking this would be something that would potentially kind of save PSVR 2, which is kind of floundering right now. But that's just kind of like a gut punch, losing a good chunk of features.
I guess this is the naiveness in me. Do VR games on Steam support, like on Oculus or Vive? I don't even know if that's the thing anymore. Support eye tracking, adaptive triggers, haptic feedback. Haptic feedback is currently a PlayStation controller thing, right?
There are controllers with haptic feedback on PC. So technically there should be some games that
I just wonder, like, are there VR games that support haptic feedback, adaptive triggers? Like that's the part. Like HDR, like the headset's 3 inches off of your eyes. Come on.
HDR is really nice, though.
I know, but in the headset, like, I guess I don't have PSVR 2. So, yes, I'm looking at an HDR monitor. I have an HDR TV upstairs. Like, I like it. I've noticed the difference. When I don't see something in HDR or I watch something later, like, I'm like, okay, like, I see it. Like, I know, like, everybody's like, I don't see frames. Like, I see frames now. Like, So I get it. I'm just more like, yes, this is a bummer, but I'm just curious of like how many of these features have typically been PlayStation features. Now, I think that this is a great move by PlayStation. It's also like typical PlayStation or Sony to half bake it currently. But at the same time, like, there is a very somewhat niche market they're going after. They're going after the rare PS5 owner that also plays on PC. I don't see a PC only person buying this headset with these features missing. Like, I would have to do a deep dive comparison to see exactly what price for price, like what a $500 or $450 headset that supports Steam cost you. But somebody like me and somebody like you, this is a potential of, well, first of all, the price of PSVR 2 needs to drop. And then the software needs to increase dramatically. So there's PlayStation software in general needs to increase currently. But I just feel like yes, like, you have a PS5, I have a PS5, you have a PC that can handle this, I have a PC that can handle this. I'm just not seeing enough of a VR market currently to even became a remote possibility. But I need to see like the next 6 months of I need to see like a VR roadmap, because it's very bleak.
The thing with the people on PC that, are into VR, they could have been interested in the PSVR 2 headset if it had these features. Some of these features definitely would need developers of games to patch their games to support some of that stuff, to get like proper haptic feedback. But there are games that support haptic feedback because the Oculus 2 has haptic feedback. And the adaptive triggers would be something also that they would probably have to patch in. Losing HDR is kind of a big deal to me, because it's one of those things where the PSVR 2 is a top-of-the-line headset, so the fact that it doesn't have that, but it technically does, you just can't have access to it, is, kind of crap. And that could be frustrating. I think the biggest one is like the eye tracking, because eye tracking is key with some headsets, that the fact that it's just not supported at all. I hope this means developers maybe can unlock that ability if they patch their game, but this PlayStation outright saying that this doesn't have those features kind of makes me think a developer can't just like patch their game and maybe get that working.
Okay, so I just did a quick Google thing. So let's remove the PlayStation 5 from the equation. Okay. Like take that away. Is
$400 off?
Okay. So you own a PC and you're looking at a VR headset, and then I guess, what is the cost of PSVR 2 right now?
I believe it's $500. I believe it's the cost of a.
And I don't know this, but does the Meta Quest 3 support HDR?
I don't know offhand.
Okay.
If it does, I can just look that up.
Let me see. I'm clicking. Well, I'm on your favorite store's ad right now. I'm clicking. So I'm just trying to see 30% leap in resolution. Quest 2, reach out and touch. Okay, 2 hours of usage and.
Yes, I mean, some people are asking about HDR functionality with Meta Quest 3, so it might have some sort of support.
Okay.
Yeah, HDR support on the Meta Quest website.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the same price.
It's the same price, yeah.
So like this is where that like I just typed in Steam supported Steam supported VR headsets, and like there's a Vive Focus Plus virtual reality headset. It's like $200, but then the MetaQuest 3, like, and some of this is actually designed to be independently can play games. Like it's got 128 gigs built in, hard drive or whatever on the headset, so you don't always have to be connected. This is the problem, because the headset itself costs $500, and then the adapter is $60, and then the DisplayPort cable, what, 15?
Yeah, like 15, 20.
Yeah. So you're looking at like another, looking at, I mean,
600 plus.
$80.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're looking at $600+ for.
It's $549.
Yeah, it's $549. Yeah. So
yeah.
like $600+ Yeah.
Yeah. So they're gonna lose. Like, if somebody owns a PlayStation, so now we bring the PlayStation 5 back into the equation. If you already own a PlayStation and a PC that can support this, then it becomes a possibility. But that is a very narrow audience.
But that would be the audience I feel like you would want to cater to make sure you're giving them the best experience possible.
Yeah. So I mean, like that's what they're going after. Like that's fine. And they really want you to play. Like Sony's always been that way. They want you to use our hardware on our hardware. And this is kind of actually a different step in the direction. But it's not a bad step. It's just the best way to determine it is I think it's a misstep.
Yeah, or underwhelming, if anything.
Yeah, because they really, and then they don't want to, but they're just like, hey, we're trying. Look. Like, we're letting our device work on other stuff. We're trying to play nice. It's like, like the kid on the playground that's been dysfunctional. Like, go push your friend. Okay, I pushed him, and then he fell on the ground. Well, I did what you said. I pushed him on the swing. He fell over. Sorry.
I feel like there's a misstep in terms of, like, if they made this announcement, how great it would have been if they're like, guess what? Horizon VR is now on PC. It's available on Quest. Like, then that would have been like a huge thing, and then it would give you hope that, like, okay, maybe future PlayStation exclusive VR games will be on PC to,
And this isn't a smash case on PlayStation VR 2. This is a smash case on VR that PlayStation is adding another layer to.
Yeah, it definitely feels like PlayStation's done with the whole VR thing, unfortunately, which sucks because
it's kind of getting the Vita treatment.
Yeah, no, that's what it feels like.
They did the PSP, which was everybody really liked. It was really cool. PSVR 1 kind of was well received, liked, very cool. Okay, we're going to reiterate on it and make it a little bit better. Okay, we give up.
Yeah, and not just a little bit better, but like the Vita was amazing and they gave up on it.
Correct.
The VR 2 on paper is amazing and they're kind of giving up on it. And it almost feels like this is like, there's already those reports that, like, hey, they stopped producing them because they have warehouses to get through, and this almost feels like it'll quietly become a relic. And
I'll pay attention. If this thing drops down to like $300, I'll buy it.
Yeah, but like,
and then I'll buy the adapter later, like once I see like a library of VR games that I want to use on PC.
Yeah, and that's how I look at that. Like, I think
but they're not even supporting it like they were. I'm sorry. They're not even supporting it like they were VR 1, where, like, wasn't there for a long time on PS Plus, like, we were getting a VR game like once a quarter?
Yeah, like once a quarter. Yeah, it wasn't consistent, but it would happen. You would get a couple, and there was also
bonus
some
game.
There were also some games that were just standard games that just had a VR feature or a section of the game, and we're not really seeing that right now because there just isn't enough units out there. But yeah, this was definitely a little underwhelming in terms of the announcement, because I was like, oh, if they could fully support PSVR 2 on PC, that would be a huge thing for them, because it is a really good headset. But seeing that it's missing features that they could have potentially eventually add, or if they see enough people actually using the headset on PC, maybe developers will be like, hey, we would really like to do the haptic feedback and eye tracking and then maybe work with Sony, but I just don't see that being a possibility.
Yeah, their hardware always reviews well, always performs well, but then it just doesn't get supported. You can go back to like their headsets. Like, oh, like adaptive 3D sound. Everybody's like, oh, what's that? Uncharted 3 uses it. Oh, that's cool. That works really well. Nothing. like not another game for months.
Yeah, it was just first party support for maybe
Yeah.
like 3 big releases, and then it's just kind of like, just use the basic profiles. I remember I
Right.
loved configuring my PlayStation headset.
Yeah.
I got the Uncharted
Like
profile.
a special Killzone profile. You
Yeah.
know, like
I could
and
barely
then
tell a difference, but
yeah,
I
like
still
the
would be excited.
touchpad, like the
Yeah.
touchpads on. You know, it just seems like it's kind of like, okay, Astro takes amazing use of it. You go to like Ubisoft or anybody. No, we're not going to do that
I
because
think-
there's no touchpad on Xbox. You know,
I feel
there's
like
no touchpad
that-
on PC.
Is the most telling thing that we didn't get like a big Astrobot thing announced for PSVR 2. I feel like
Right,
that was
because that was like the creme de la creme. Like, and
Yeah.
so now they're like, okay, go make it on the console. We want to see. We want everybody to play it. We want
Yeah.
kids to play it. We want to be the next Mario, or we want this to be our, family friendly focal point, which they didn't really have one for a long time.
yeah, because they abandoned Little Big Planet.
Yeah.
And Little Big Planet just never caught on. But Astrobot is that next character. And Astrobot on the VR is still probably the best PSVR
Yeah.
experience is that Astrobot game. So the fact
I still
that they-
I still think one of the games that I loved the most on VR was just that Batman game. It was just great.
Oh, yeah, it was cool just to walk around,
Like
yeah.
it was just great. It was
Yeah.
just,
but in terms
I never
of
got to play
showing
the
off-
Iron Man stuff or anything.
Yeah, I got to pick up the Iron Man stuff. I got to dust off my VR headset eventually. I don't even know where my cable is that I got.
Plug
from
it back into
PlayStation.
your PS4. I never got the PS5 adapter.
I think you could still order it.
Okay.
Which you might want to do just to do.
Yeah, just to have it.
Yeah,
sell
I
it
have
later.
mine somewhere. I got to find it. The only problem is once I took it out of the box, it just became like a undistinct USB
Yeah.
cable. So like,
What's
I don't.
this dongle thingy? Oh, it's probably for some headset I don't use anymore.
Yeah. I'm a hoarder. I save all my cables. I have baggies in this drawer.
Oh,
next
you
to
have
me.
baggies. I thought you'd have a box or something. I thought you'd have
No.
those like those flip and fold storeway boxes stacked up.
No. I literally have sandwich bags that are marked USB-C, mini, micro. That's why when my microphone wasn't working earlier, I just went in a store, like looked through all my baggies and found a replacement cable. But yeah, PSVR 2, August 7th, $60.
Okay.
I'm
$80.
curious to see like how well this will be stocked.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be surprised if this on day one sells out because there isn't a ton of them available.
Ladies and gentlemen, we sold out of our stock of 100 units.
Yeah. The next thing we'll move on to is the Xbox app is coming to Amazon Fire TVs this month. So the Xbox app is officially coming to Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K and 4K Max. This basically will allow Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers to connect a wireless controller to their Fire Stick and then be able to stream games from Xbox Cloud. This is the second application that Xbox has really put out there. There was some Samsung TVs that got support last year, which I feel like we didn't hear enough about, really, which kind of shows you where that audience might be.
Right.
But the Fire Stick one is a pretty huge one because you're talking about like a device that's been like a stocking stuffer for several years now getting Xbox support. As someone who worked at Best Buy, like people would just be at Best Buy's bins of Fire Sticks on sale. So this is a lot of people potentially getting this.
Yeah. I've been talking about this and saying that this was going to be a thing they were going to do. I'm actually surprised that they didn't go with somebody like, I guess they wouldn't obviously have gone with Google. So I guess the only other one, like real live competitor in the field is Roku.
Yeah.
So it's super interesting to me just from a business standpoint for them to get in bed with Amazon right away because Amazon has their own streaming service called Luna.
Which must not be doing well. I've never had any want to check it out.
So, but I love this. I love this. You guys all know that. Like, to get a Fire Stick for a decent Fire Stick was like $40. Like a 4K Fire Stick's like $40 right now. And to buy a controller, like you're talking about $100, you can, with $100 plus the Fire Stick. Yeah, maybe.
Well, no, a controller's not even $100. It's a
no, like with the controller and a Fire Stick combined, you're talking about spending $100 and then spending less than $20 a month on Ultimate. You can play a lot of cool stuff. Like you could play a lot of cool stuff. Now, the caveat is always going to be how does it run and how is your internet. It's something that I will potentially. I have a Fire Stick. I kind of actually hate the Amazon Fire Stick interface. I think I have a Fire Stick laying around the house somewhere from my old company's days that I bought something super cheap, so I'll have to dig around and see. But yes, I'm like much as they were giving me crap in Discord, I'm aware that you don't connect Bluetooth controllers to the television. You connect them to the Fire Stick device. I get it. But I would be potential to see how well this looks and runs and functions. And I love this. Like I've determined over the last year, I hate the boxes. I hate the console boxes. I was moving the Xbox Series X into Owen's room so he could play some stuff, and I'm like, this is freaking 2024, and I'm carrying around this fucking brick. Like, it's just
yeah.
So like, if this works, I'm all for it. Like, and this is two companies going two separate directions. Like, the potential, if this does well, for them to advertise this on like Thursday Night Football on Amazon, for the partnership they can have with this, of like whether it ends up being like a Madden game or like we know it's going to be Call of Duty. If you don't think that the month of September and October and November that they're going to have some partnership and branding and Xbox packaged Amazon Fire Sticks or something like that.
That is the thing that's going to be interesting around the holidays. Is will they... if they have too many that are already packaged, will they be having employees put stickers that say Xbox?
Yeah, or are you going to get the old, the classic like Xbox rubber band where they take a Luna and a controller and like a Game Pass card and strap it together? Do you remember? I know you had to do that before.
No, I remember like Target having those
$150, or at this point in time, give them a year Game Pass. Like, get them to buy, if they buy the Luna and the controller, get a year Game Pass.
If they want to be ballsy, because they're partnering with Amazon, see if you can slide that into a Prime subscription, like a couple months or something like that, or Prime Gaming.
Yeah.
And see what you could do. That'd be too expensive to be an addition to Prime Gaming, but it could be worth them, like, the next Prime Gaming drop instead of a game.
Yeah, but even buy a Fire Stick, get 90 days of Game Pass free. Like,
something like that.
There's going to be, and if they can get that foot in that door of where, like, I'm not even talking about marketing to the non-Xbox owner or the non-console owner. I'm talking about marketing to the kids' TV in the bedroom, in their room, the extra TV in the basement, the extra TV in the family room, like. Some people have intricate systems. If you have your TV mounted on the wall and everything's hardwired into a cabinet, you're not touching that.
Yeah.
Like, you're not taking that out. Like, and to the point where, like, okay, I'm not going to buy another console. I already have a Fire Stick. I'll link my account. Like that's a big deal. Like, a potentially big deal. Well, or, I can go buy a Fire Stick for my porch TV, my sunroom TV, or whatever it is.
And just designate a controller. You can have multiple profiles and controllers, but just have that.
That's more common than people think it is. Like, two console houses, not common. Super, super rare. Multiple TV houses, very common, especially in this day and age now. Very, very common. And the fact of the matter is, of sending your sibling or your child into the other room and say, go play. Like for me, like Minecraft. Oh, and go play Minecraft. Go away.
Yeah, and Minecraft wouldn't. Input lag wouldn't be that big a deal in Minecraft, or
Mom and Dad, I don't want to pay this on my phone anymore. Can I play on the big TV? Sure, we have it. Yeah, you already have Game Pass on your phone. Okay, like
it's Thursday Night Football. Owen, here, go take this controller and go to the other room.
So, like, that's got humongous potential, and I just really hope that they go full gas. Like, Microsoft and Amazon go full gas on this, like bundles or advertisements and Call of Duty, play it on Fire Stick, like go full bore. And I just hope it runs. Like, I just hope it runs well. Call of Duty is an extensively taxing game.
Yeah, I mean, since it's just streaming, it's just going to be a matter of, like, do you have good internet? And there's a reason why they're restricting this only to the 4K Fire Sticks as well, because those are a little beefier. So I think the stuff on their end will run well. It's just going to be a matter of, like, does your internet handle it well enough? Or is it going to maybe choke your internet or hog your internet? Could be the issue people run into. But depending on, like, what game...
And Amazon 4K Fire Stick, $60.
Yeah. And during the holidays, those usually get cut down to, like, $25.
Hell, it might be cheaper by the time you listen to this episode. Prime days are, like, the 16th and 17th. So.
Yeah. Like, I'm considering of just getting a Fire Stick just to throw in, like, the bedroom and just like, I have 4 Xbox controllers lying around my house. I can designate one to that room. Why I would want it, I don't know, but I'll have it as an option. Because
one day you're not feeling good and you don't really want to get up and you just want to lay in bed and have your soup because you're sick, and you can play a game if you want to.
Yeah.
Like it's an option. It's there. Sometimes people really like the Fire Stick interface, so you already have it and you already have Game Pass. So why not?
Yeah.
Like why not do it? You know?
And then if they can get this to work on like Fire Stick TVs, like the actual built-in app on TVs, that could be huge in terms of just like.
I don't see why it wouldn't, though. I mean, in terms of if you have a 4K app, like if you buy a high-end...
But they do put it in some lower-end TVs, so I imagine the Fire Stick built into those TVs is on a low end as well.
Right.
But I would imagine if they can get TV support, or at least put a list of TVs that are available for the app,
right,
that could be a potential like party trick, as lame as that might sound. If like you're at someone's house for Thanksgiving, a family's thing, and you brought your controllers because you knew their TV.
Same thing though. Like we've seen it before. Like I don't know if we go to Best Buy and buy a Samsung TV and that's like an Amazon based TV. I don't even know, like Vizio. We make a purchase today. Okay, here's your controller. Oh, what's this for? Oh, you have a 3-month subscription to Game Pass, so the controller's free today. Oh.
Yeah.
Like with granted, you buy a $1,200 TV, a free $60 controller ain't nothing, But, but I love it. I'm here for it. I want to see, like, I just hope it runs well, and I want PlayStation to do the same thing eventually. Like,
especially
just for the record,
the PlayStation Plus streaming works pretty well. Like, right? Like when my experience of using it, it's night and day better than what it was like 3 years ago. Like
they actually own a television manufacturer. Microsoft doesn't. So like Sony can do this if they want to.
Yeah.
It's just that selling boxes is more important to Sony. Now, right now it's working, and is it going to stop working? Who knows? And Microsoft's not selling boxes, so we know it's two different directions. But why not Sony? Why not?
And I think right now the hesitation on PlayStation's end, not only to sell boxes, is because they were actually one of the first companies to put apps out on TVs, but then they revoked all those apps on those TVs because the technology just wasn't there. And the technology was there, but people's internet was not. And every year we get closer to more and more people having solid internet, which means that experience is getting better and better. So like I could see if Xbox, in a year is like bragging about how many Amazon Fire Stick users are playing Xbox, I could see PlayStation coming back around to the idea of being like, hey, this is worth it for us. Especially, they can strictly tie it into PlayStation Plus, which is something they couldn't do before because it was what was the PlayStation one called?
Geico?
I forgot.
Geico? Or not Geico?
No, that's who they bought. But either way,
PS Now.
PS Now. That was a separate subscription on top of your PlayStation Plus. So the fact that now those are merged together means it's probably an easier sell for PlayStation to be like, hey, with your PlayStation Plus subscription, you can stream games. So it's something PlayStation could definitely do a lot better now than when they were trying to do it. Like 10 years ago. PlayStation was trying this. And it's crazy because like PlayStation did it 10 years ago, it didn't really work out, and now we're looking at Xbox doing it, and like, oh shit, this can save Xbox a little bit. This kind of shows you how times have changed. All right, the next thing I put on this because I love this game, and it's just kind of funny it's being remade again, but Dead Rising is getting a remaster, another one called Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster that launches in September. So Capcom announced a remaster of the first game, and only the first game, with new overhauled visuals, improved UI, and auto-saving. It's being remade in that Resident Evil remake engine. This game was last remade in 2016 as part of a double pack with Dead Rising 1 and 2, which were both remade. This one, they're taking their time and only focusing on one game, and it does look like a full remaster. That Resident Evil engine is a really nice looking engine, and it's nice to see them kind of applying it to different games. But yeah, Dave, I'm not too sure if you messed with Dead Rising back in the day. I feel like you did.
No, okay. not really. No.
All right. Well, either way, really fun games. I was kind of annoyed when this was first announced. I'm like, we just got a remaster, and then they said it was remastered in 2016, and I realized time moves forward, and it's scary. But yeah, this game looks good. It's coming out really soon, September 19th. And it's going to be $50, so they're not charging like the full $70 for this game. Thank God. But I'm looking forward to kind of jumping back in this game, and this year definitely could use a few more games, and this is one that like I might wait for it to be on a little bit more of a sale. But it seems like they're being really respectful of this, and it also is kind of showing that Capcom, they might be running out of Resident Evil games to remaster, so they're moving into their other franchises using this engine. So I guess if this works out well for them, we might get Dead Rising 2 remastered, and then they'll probably stop there because no one wants a Dead Rising 3 remaster.
I mean, Capcom's doing a pretty good job lately with what they've been working on and cleaning up and releasing. So, I mean, I have full confidence that this will probably be significantly better than the 2016 release. Not knowing much about it at all, but
it was very basic. It ran on the PS4s, and that's kind of all that
remakes weren't as important of a thing as they apparently seem to be in the market now.
Yeah, especially these full-blown ones. Like the 2016 one felt more of just like a port than anything.
Yeah. So,
but yeah,
I'm all for it. I mean, any just increase in potential software that you can play that maybe somebody else didn't play is always a good thing.
Yeah. All right, well, speaking of remakes, this one comes via Ubisoft, and it's my favorite announcement when it's just a CEO just fucking talking to talk and basically spoils probably some marketing plans for his company. But in an interview on Ubisoft's website, CEO Yves Guillemot said the publisher is working on multiple AC remakes. He is quoted saying, "Players can be excited about some remakes, which will allow us to revisit some of the games we've created in the past and modernize them." There were reports last year that Black Flag was being remade, but nothing official came out when that news kind of broke or was leaked. This isn't the first time Assassin's Creed games have been remade. In 2016, the Ezio collection got all three Ezio games. Basically a port. Like, they weren't full-blown remakes, but they were ported over to PS4, Xbox One. And then Assassin's Creed Rogue, which was the last PS3, Xbox 360 Assassin's Creed game, was brought over to PS4, Xbox One in 2018. So, yeah. Dave, what do you think happens to the marketing department when stuff like this just gets said in a random interview? Because you have to imagine if it's already being worked on, they probably have their plan of we're gonna hit them announcement here.
Yes and no. But why wasn't any of this talked about at the Ubisoft Forward then? Why is this being talked about 3 weeks later?
It almost is like they wanted to say something because no one was talking about the Ubisoft Forward.
Yeah, I mean that might be the case too. But it's this is their marquee franchise. This is their bread and butter. They're gonna keep squeezing this until they can't get anything else out of it. And this just tells me that they're releasing these on the Switch and cleaned up versions and bundle packs that we saw must have moved some kind of units to where it's worth it. The biggest caveat or problem that I have with this is that I am not aware of a solid history for Ubisoft on doing this. We just talked about Capcom. Capcom's done a decent job. Because Capcom did Resident Evil 2, correct?
Yeah, Capcom's Resident Evil, and they've been killing it with their
even Square Enix. Square Enix has cleaned up some stuff that they've remade recently, I feel like.
Yeah, a lot of their old games, they have that new 2D, 3D engine.
So, I mean, I think I remembered years ago, Assassin's Creed, what was the second one? Assassin's Creed 2, what was it called? Brotherhood?
The Ezio Collection is the one.
No, but the second ever Assassin's Creed game.
Assassin's Creed 2, and then Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed
But 2. One of them was the most platinum game ever. Or something
it was
that, right?
2 or Brotherhood. That was the
So you're telling me that a remake version of the game that most people played to 100% completion on the PlayStation platform wouldn't move units across the country, across the world?
It's their favorite one for most people. When they talk about Assassin's Creed, they're not talking about the first one, even though people want that remastered because that was pretty rough.
Well, you could clean up a bunch of that stuff too. There's huge potential with the story is really good, but the game was clunky. Okay, well, you can get rid of clunkiness now in 2025. But again, without any announcement, there's no way that these games are coming out in the next 6 months.
No, especially they just delayed the Prince of Persia remake to 2026 after saying it would be out in 2025.
And then we all know that Ubisoft needs these Band-Aids because they're doing this whole narrative change and IP change where they've supposedly walked away from Immortals and walked away from Watch Dogs and walked away from these, evidently, we've already kind of missed the window when I thought we'd see another Far Cry. So are they walking away from that franchise too? So they can't walk away from Assassin's Creed because you don't really have anything else.
Too.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, there's something's going on. They're in this low swing right now, and the way that you filled this valley up is with. There's no correct term to call this, and I'm not demeaning this when I say it, but they need to shove out some shovelware.
And I think that's the route they're going to go, unfortunately, just because they already did like an Ezio collection, which is the games that people would want remade fully, they would have to be very significant remakes because they would probably want to sell them individually instead of doing a trilogy. Yeah,
but they could add some of the noise mechanics and the voice listening. Like, they could adjust some of the stuff that was half-baked compared to what we get now with like Odyssey and stuff like that. Like, if they could incorporate some of those mechanics into Brotherhood and into Assassin's Creed 2, like, there's potentially a huge audience that would maybe love to see and play the original stories of the,
I'm one of them.
Thing called Albatross. Like, what's the thing called that? Like, I don't play enough.
Animus?
Like
the Animus?
Yes. Yeah. Like, I know they moved away from the Animus, but the people are still interested in that original lore. But I'm not going back and playing a 14-year-old game. That ain't happening.
Well, I think there's also a lot of people that like, the first like 5-6 games. It's kind of hard to tell because Assassin's Creed 2 had multiple sequels. Yeah. Are like the Desmond story. The current time stuff. And I fell off because at a certain point I couldn't buy a game every single year on the same franchise because you were getting like worse returns every year because they were pumping them out. But I would be interested to kind of revisit those games in some form, even if they cut the filler on some of them. And
not even the filler, they still fit that niche of what you want. An 8 to 12 hours single player fun game, like a beginning, middle, end, like, story, boss, conflict, resolution, credits.
And that's usually when I kind of fell off Assassin's Creed, is because the games just getting longer and longer and longer. But those original ones that I think everyone would want remade are the ones that would fit that category.
Like Odyssey and Origin are like open world MMOs, almost like Witcher-like games.
That would actually be my fear, is if they kind of did what Square Enix did with Final Fantasy VII Remake, where they like stretched, especially the first game felt super stretched. I would be worried that they kind of would Odyssey or Origins out those original games a little too much. Because
with a bunch of fetch quests and material gathering and
because I didn't hear
escort missions.
I didn't finish the last Assassin's Creed that was a shorter Assassin's Creed than their previous games.
Mirage,
Mirage, because I just wasn't interested in the story. Like, I got halfway through that game and just kind of fell off. And I wonder if the data for that is going to show, like, actually people aren't interested in these shorter Assassin's Creed games. They want the crazy long ones, and how that could affect them going forward.
I think they grew. They did what every game company does, and they grew with their audience. They catered to their core audience and their niche audience that they had. The problem is that like every game company wants is like, the first one sold 1 million copies, so the second one has to sell 1.5 million. The third one has to sell 3 million copies. Like, we gotta and it gets to the point of where, okay, you have your Assassin's Creed fan, like, you're holding them right here, and you've got their attention. You get, like, just like with me, like with Destiny, like, okay, whatever you release, I'm buying. Naughty Dog, whatever you release, I'm buying. Ubisoft has that crowd with Assassin's Creed. How do you grow it?
Yeah.
And obviously they're now, like, the way that you potentially grow it is by the hope, I guess. I mean, not the hope, but you talk about this story again, and then you incorporate some of the stuff that they've been remaking into the 2027 or 2028 release. Yeah.
It is funny though, like the news saying
you can't bring a character back that's 20 years old. You can't just have him pop up in a game.
You can.
But the 18-year-old guy that's playing Assassin's Creed ain't gonna know who that character is because he was in the game before he was born.
Let's be honest. There's a chance that 18-year-old guy is actually named after that character that just popped up in the game, so they're aware that way. I know a few Altairs. I have some friends that they named their kid either Ezio or Altair. I know at least 2 people that have Altairs.
Interesting.
They'll
buy the remake then.
Yeah, they'll buy the remake because they probably tried to play it the original and was like, "This is shit. Why was I named after this?" The thing that I think is kind of funny is when the reports leaked last year that Black Flag is going to be remade. That just told me like they're just trying to get whatever they could out of the Skull and Bones engine because that game just disappeared, and they're just like, we put a lot of time into this water.
Yeah, we spent like these water waves and the mountain stuff. Like we got to put this. We got to do something with this.
It would be the perfect circle of life thing because Skull and Bones is an offshoot,
So
basically.
we're remaking Black Flag, but just the water parts.
Yeah.
What?
Well, no, that's the thing.
Just
is
the
like,
ship combat. Like, yeah, you did that already. Like,
yeah, Skull and Bones formed because Black Flag. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, the boat stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
They should make a full game out of that."
And
So
it
they
took them
did.
8 years to do it.
8 years later, it bombed because they took too long to make it, and then here they are being like, "Actually, Black Flag," and now they're gonna go back to it, and it's gonna be full circle. It's gonna be great. But yeah, that's all I had for the news. We're still in that post-summer Game Fest sort of thing. So
We're in that, even in that lower valley of between Summer Game Fest and Gamescom. So like they're not talking at all.
yeah,
Because if they have anything to talk about, they're like, oh, let's just do it at Gamescom. It's a bigger audience.
and I'm
so
waiting
just-
for Keeley to be like, "Don't expect anything at Gamescom,
Yeah.
but tune
so-
in, please, for my 3-hour."
But therefore, with no really news, nothing can really be delayed.
No.
And then, like what we're playing and watching, for me, it's been a lot of Destiny. Watching, my wife and I are watching a show that my daughter turned us on to. I think I talked about before. Scorpion. It's a just a it's multiple seasons. It's a 45-minute thing. It's a bunch of geniuses, like intellectual geniuses, like solving homeland security problems and things like that. So it's the typical, crime drama that we just get sucked into the storylines and listen to. It's on Paramount Plus. Been watching that. I've been watching some of like my the All American thing that I watch on CW. That's like a show that I'm invested in for multiple 6 or 7 seasons now. So it's like it's like a male freaking soap opera at this point in time. But I'm invested in the character arc enough that I'm watching it, and I can't tell if the season's ending or if this is the last season or what's going on with this. So. But I started watching this when the main character was like a sophomore in high school, and he's been drafted into the NFL now. That's how long I've been watching this stuff.
Oh god.
Yes, so it's just like, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, like that's kind of been what's been going on for the most part. I am really enjoying the final shape, the way that they've done stuff. The raid is hard as balls. My team's not like, we're not like rushing through it or trying to like prioritize it. Our 2 hours a week that we're working on it, we're making progress each week. So it's not like eventually the thing with what's going on with Destiny right now is like that continuous grind that was in the game is kind of gone for the most part. Cause there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that's great, little small things like fire team power. So whoever's the highest person on your team, everybody else, regardless of power, gets moved up within 5 levels of that person. So I don't even have to be that person anymore. I've got people in my group that play way more than I do, and I just piggyback off their power level. But again, similar to like I talked about at the beginning of the show, I've seen the download numbers increase. Like watching your number increase in Destiny is still, watching the XP bar fill up and watching the power level go up is still a fun thing. Their narrative stuff is great. Like Final Shape storytelling was fantastic. What they're doing with the episodes or their new version of seasons or whatever, like splitting into different acts too. Like jury's still out on if it's good or not, but like 3-4 weeks of seasonal content-ish story each was very good. There's a little break going on right now where they're waiting until like middle July for the next thing to release. So yeah, they're kind of doing really well with the games as a service drip fed content thing that other companies can't seem to hit.
The only thing I could say is like I'm used to the Destiny stuff bleeding into my Twitter feed and Facebook feeds, and it just doesn't seem like it's really bleeding.
Yeah,
through
I mean, you had
like
that
it used
week.
for this.
Like, yeah, I mean, Final Shape did well. It's reviewing very well. It's
Yeah.
reviewing as like the highest Destiny expansion ever.
I'm just saying, like
compared
my
to
friend list. Usually Destiny thing comes out, and my friend list is all Destiny. But this time.
I think a lot of people tapped out though, and, aren't going back. Yeah, but like it'll be just. I would kind of like with the delay too. I kind of want to see what this might be something that people mess with in like October, November, December, like post Call of Duty. Like you talk about like that holiday break game of like, hey, there's a lot of stuff here. Like there's a lot, in terms of like attachments and the stuff they did with the Cade character and Nathan Fillion voice actor, like it was phenomenal. It was very, single, like don't feel bad if you just play Final Shape and walk away. You don't have to interact with the seasonal content. You can buy the $50 version of the game and play a good solid story and see a cool quote unquote end of the light and dark chapter of the Destiny 10-year. They hit 10 years. Like everybody laughed at them 12 years ago when they said, we're going to tell a 10-year story. People are like, you're high. Okay, good, bad, or indifferent. They told a 10-year story.
Yeah.
And they closed the book on the 10-year story, and now everybody's like, okay, well, now what? They're like, damn, you just laughed at us for 10 years, and now you're saying now what?
like, you know how hard it was for us to drag this shit for 10 years, and now you're asking for more?
Right. So, I mean, I'm pleased with it. The Discord, the voice, joining voice chat on Discord through PlayStation is seamless.
It's so fantastic.
That's awesome. It's just one picking up my phone wasn't inconvenient, but this is super convenient. So just to kind of jump on and see, and so like that's been great. Still, I'm still playing my fair share of softball. So like and it's been hot. Like these last couple days have been okay, but like the last 10 days were so warm. I don't know if we recorded since I lost power at work for 4 days.
No, I don't think so. I feel like I that.
So 3 days or 4 days. So that was interesting. But yeah, like we're getting ready to, like, at the end of this month, we're making Angela, Owen, and I are making a trip to Toronto. We're gonna go check out like a Blue Jays Tigers game. We're gonna go check out a theme park in Toronto, and just kind of see the city. So that's only like a 4-hour drive. We're gonna go to
watch
Niagara.
A good team play the Blue Jays.
You want me to go I mean, I'm eventually gonna have to go to Chicago and see both of those garbage teams play the Tigers.
You shouldn't do it. You should just delay that trip a couple years and hope for the best.
I still think I want to try to do Chicago and do Comiskey and Wrigley in one day.
If you're not on antidepressants, you will be by the end of that day.
Well, at least for Wrigley, it's a cool stadium that I like, a historical stadium. And then I just like ballparks. So going to New Comiskey or whatever, it's US Cellular, whatever the hell it's called.
Guaranteed rate field.
So
rolls off the tongue.
Right. So like that's just a desire that I have to eventually visit as many stadiums as I can. So that'll be an inevitable thing. I can make a weekend out of Chicago too with the aquarium and everything like that, and getting you and I going out to dinner or something like that.
The aquarium might want to wait. Me and Sarah just went there a couple weeks ago, and it's like half under construction. So I would say if you're doing a Chicago trip, 2026 or 2025 might be the years to do it. Maybe the teams will be good by then too.
Yeah. So 2026, I think if you really press Angela, she wants to go to London. So that's our 25th wedding anniversary. So. That
would probably be a better trip than Chicago. As someone who lives in Chicago, that'd be a way better trip.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for the most part, that's been kind of like what's been going on. We're in that. The Tigers are supposed to be better than they are right now, and they're not doing too well. So we're in that dog days of summer. Like NFL, like NBA and NHL is over. The drafts are even over. Like the All-Star game's coming up, so like the home run derby will be entertaining. But I'm not watching the All-Star game.
God no.
Yeah. So
rather watch the celebrity game.
And then celebrity softball and the home run derby are the more entertaining stuff. And I get really annoyed that they edit the hell out of that celebrity softball game. Like,
it must
with all
be
the apps and the
embarrassing.
ESPN Plus things now. Like, where's just let me watch the whole thing.
It must be just really bad to watch live.
No, I get it. The version you're going to put on ESPN or ESPN2 that's going to air for 2 hours because you're right up against SportsCenter or whatever. Cool, let them have that. I have ESPN Plus. Let me see the 4.5 hour damn game.
It must be the celebrities must just embarrass themselves during it. They're just like, nah, I can't. We can't.
Yeah. So. So for the most part, that's it for playing and watching for me. I have been messing with my ROG Ally a little bit more, plugging it into the TV and trying to play it again, just kind of like using Destiny as a test dummy. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to spend $50 on Final Shape just solo on PlayStation because I bought it on PC this year. But there's some times that I just want to sit on the couch and just or even let Owen farm for me or something like that. And like I taught him how to run around the new destination opening chests because there's things that drop from those chests that I need, and I get bored doing that. But he's 8, so he might not. But all right, what you been up to?
For me, it's just Dawn Trail came out, so I've been watching Sarah play a lot of Dawn Trail for Final Fantasy 14. That is
why it's been all over that. So
yeah, no, that's been entertaining to watch from time to time. But other than that, I bought an Xbox 360 accidentally. Off eBay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so hear me out.
Accidentally off the internet.
Yes. Okay, so hear me out. The Xbox 360 marketplace is going to close at the end of this month. So they've had like a crazy fire sale where they're doing like 90% off some games that aren't backwards compatible. So I was kind of interested in that. So I was looking at it and I ended up picking up some games because we're talking about like some good games are 50 cents. So I was like, I have some bean
And
reward
these can
points.
play on the series or the one?
No, they're
or
just
no?
some of them can be played on the series, but some of them are not
Okay.
backwards compatible.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said not backwards compatible. Okay.
But some of them are backwards compatible and they're like 50 cents. So like I picked up a couple games through that, and then I was like, what are 360s going for on eBay? And I noticed a lot of them were going for like 80 or like 60 to $120. So I was like, that's kind of steep. And you can tell it's people kind of like, taking
You don't
advantage
have a
of
used games? You
closing.
don't have like just a mom and pop game shop that had that down the street from you or nothing?
They're a lot of them in the city are just so overpriced. So
Okay.
I saw a listing, and they're like, hey, buy it now, it's $50, but they were doing an auction. So I put a bid in for $25, not expecting to win it, and I ended up fucking winning it.
Oh, okay. You only paid $25.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's
So
an accident. Okay.
Yeah. So with shipping, it came out to like $33 or $34 or whatever.
Okay.
So it was one of those things where like I wasn't expecting to win it because I put a $25 bid and I wasn't expecting it to go beyond that. Ended up winning it. Now I have an Xbox 360.
It's like walking by a basketball court and seeing a ball on the ground 50 feet away from the hoop and throwing it at the hoop and it goes in.
Yeah, and you're just like, well, shit, I guess I got an Xbox 360 now. And it was it's the S, so it's like the second to last model that came out. So
Okay.
like I don't really have to worry too hard about like red ringing, hopefully, for that because I don't want that to be my experience. But man, it got me going along with like the Xbox 360 store. Like the online store is like kind of shitty but still works, and then the system store kind of shitty but still works for now until they close it. But I do got to say, like, I got to commend Microsoft for actually putting these games on sale before the store closes.
They know what's going on. Like
Yeah.
they're not just like, oh, it's just a thing that we're doing. It's a formality. Like they're like, okay.
Yeah, and they got Capcom, Konami, a couple other publishers are actually putting their games on sale. They're doing it in waves.
What else are they going to do? You're not going to be able to buy it anywhere else.
No,
Like-
but a lot of publishers, like Nintendo, when they closed the eShop for the 3DS and the Wii U, weren't really doing like crazy sales. So the idea that like Microsoft's like, hey, we're going to do some sales on these games and we're going to like poke some publishers to also put stuff on sale, I think is actually pretty good. And we're talking about like, again, there's some games that are like 90% off. So it's like pretty good sales. It just makes me hope that like when the PS3 store, that announcement happens and it gets closed, that maybe PlayStation does that.
February 2025.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where I'm just like, man, I hope PlayStation puts some stuff on sale or does something to like, sunset that store, because Microsoft is like at least putting some effort in, even though they're still dicks for closing the store.
Yeah,
But
you're right. That might actually make me go see if I can get my hands on a PS3 that I could I have a ton of stuff on PS3 from the Plus days, man. I know I have a ton of stuff on there.
Yeah,
like,
and
with
that's
my
going to
account.
be interesting because, like, I believe on the 360 they were like, hey, like the games for gold stuff that should still be playable after the store closes. I wonder how Plus is going to handle once the store closes, and if they start closing some of PSN down on the PS3.
Right. Like
what's
the
going to happen?
connectivity of like, is it going to match that you owned it or bought it?
Yeah, so I
like,
wonder how
yeah.
that stuff's going to end up going down. But yeah, it's just one of those things where like I'm looking at the PS3 store of just like, do I buy anything else for the PS3 store? Or should I wait to see if maybe they're nice and put some of these things on sale? But I guess we'll find out. I still think before the end of the year, PlayStation will make their announcement they're closing that store. They're just waiting for Xbox to close it, and then it could be the last system standing for a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a lot of video game collecting on my end. Like it's usually been the last like couple months where I'm collecting and cataloging my games more than I'm playing them. But
okay,
yeah,
Josh.
yeah, I did try and go back to play Killzone 2, the single player stuff,
Oh my gosh.
because I'm missing like the hardest playthrough
Oh, and they're
trophies.
shutting down some of those servers, aren't they?
Well, Killzone 2 servers are already shut down, but there's fan servers that brought them back. So you can still unlock those multiplayer trophies.
I saw some article, about like certain things are closing soon, or you won't be able to attain the trophies for certain games.
Yeah, a couple of the Battlefield games I think are going to be shut down soon. But man, when I tell you, Killzone 2 gave me a fucking headache and got me dizzy and nauseated.
It's that 30 frames per second, dog. 22.5 frames per second.
Dude, like I you know, like the game already on PS3 was running 30, you know, and like that's fine, but that game is so stuttery and choppy in single player. I play some multiplayer matches, super smooth, fantastic. Yeah. But that single player campaign, I got like 3 chapters in, and then I had to stop, and it fucked up my entire day.
Yeah,
because I was just,
like the front of your head hurts, like you feel like you're crying. Like
I felt like you when what was it, Rage that did that to you?
Yeah, I couldn't do it, man. Yeah. Like I was just like, I'm gonna go throw up. I'm done. Like I can't.
Literally, and we're probably around the same age from when that hit you. And when
See, you're getting old, Doc. You're getting old.
Like I put my controller down, and I'm like, I feel like Dave. Like,
oh, okay.
No, because I've never had a game do that to me, and I was playing other games that had choppy frame rates, but for some reason, Killzone that day.
What was the VR game that did it to both of us during that event?
Oh, I forgot what
From the Dead or something like that.
You guys were like, you're being weak, and then you guys both put on the headset, and both of you were like, yeah, I'm fucked up for the day.
Yeah, I'm just like,
yeah. Oh god, what was that game? They eventually took the VR mode out, and I always meant to go back to it, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't even.
Yeah, I don't even know how to search for it at this point. But yeah, no. So yeah, I've just been messing around with old stuff. My Switch, for the third time, had a firmware update this year that completely killed my network on the device, which is annoying because I can't re-sign into the network unless I go into my hotspot, and then my Switch can connect to the hotspot, but it cannot connect to my home internet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucking annoying because I want to play Tetris 99 and I can't because I don't want to do it over a hotspot. So I don't know if that means my Switch is dying. I really hope it isn't dying because I'm not going to buy a new Switch until the Switch 2 is announced and coming out. But yeah, just having some Switch problems as well.
Here they lie.
Here they lie. Yeah, fuck that game. That game hurt my soul. And it was a cool concept.
I can still feel that queasiness.
Yeah, because it also had like the snowy, like static looking filter, and oh man, that game was rough. Maybe I'll play that this weekend. I'll bust out the PSVR headset.
Christ. It texts me like the little cup that you have with a lid on it.
I'm just gonna record me going and then send a voice memo to you of just me like dry heaving.
All right, so we do have a question today that came up from our Twitch chat today. So you can also send us questions and comments using hashtag #AskDigitalDays. Again, doesn't have to be current event topics, just something you want us to talk about, or you like that's on your mind, or not even necessarily video game related. So just not politics. No.
Or streamer drama. For the love of God.
So BT Game Night says, question: How do you feel about the news of Arcade 1-Up seemingly going belly up this year and still using the same IPs, including another NBA Jam cabinet with 2 players, for example, being the latest release? So since he posted this, I tried to do a little bit of quick Googling and stuff like that. I'm really not finding or seeing anything that says the company's going belly up. But it looks like 9 months ago, they had some massive turnover with their CEO and everything like that. But I'm not seeing anything that says that they're going belly up. If this is truly the case, and they might actually be in some turmoil, we will reach out to Josh Langford. I know he has a handful of these cabinets, and we will get some of his opinion on this. He may or may not listen to this. I don't know. Yeah. From what I'm having a hard time finding any.
So there's been a lot of discussion going around.
Some YouTuber is predicting it.
Yeah. A lot of this is stemming from the fact that they have been just kind of re-releasing the same IPs in different cabinets with like different side artwork and different little special features. So there's been a lot of speculation that they're kind of running out of arcade games that they can actually feasibly get licensed for and make cabinets for. So they've just been repurposing the same stuff.
Still using the same IPs, including another NBA. Okay.
And one of their big marquee titles were the Marvel vs. Capcom games, because that for the last 5+ years was the only way you can play those games is you bought an Arcade 1-Up cabinet, and those those had online play as well. So the idea now that Marvel vs. Capcom, all of those games basically are coming to modern platforms for an affordable price, means that's one less thing Arcade 1-Up has to like hang their hat on. So there definitely is a lot of reason to believe that they could be in trouble based on some of the stuff last year, and the fact that like now kind of all they have are NBA Jam, because all the other stuff, and like the Simpsons Arcade, like because all the other games are being re-released. Because I did see like a lot of their Turtles machines went on clearance at a lot of locations, and it's like, well, the Cowabunga collection came out last
I
year.
didn't know that. I could even though I don't turn the damn thing on, it look cool in this room.
Yeah. You can still find
Angela's not going to let me do that.
I go to some Walmarts, you might be able to find them on clearance. Even the smaller ones that are like tabletop ones are available. But yeah, so Arcade 1-Up definitely seems like they need to figure something out in terms of like how are we going to, what IPs did we forget about that need to have a cabinets, or what
IPs
likely,
can we get that might just bolster our library variety? Yeah,
because you can only do NBA Jam so many times.
Right.
And they also potentially need to look at like, okay, so we were doing affordable cabinets. Should we just forget the affordable part and maybe go into high-end cabinet business, which will probably push them out of the Best Buys and the Walmarts, but that could be sustainable for them, is if they just go to the high-end side of things, as opposed to the cabinets that kind of just
or really go into a true niche collection, like make, maybe even up the quality of the cabinets, like to make them like true like display pieces versus like, I think they look cool, but they always look kind of small.
Yeah,
like,
they that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like they might need to look into like feeding into like the higher end market.
A full size 6-foot NBA Jam widescreen 4-player cabinet, like go full bore, like,
Yeah, because playing like some of those 2-player games on Arcade 1-Up machines have always been kind of uncomfortable.
Well, and me and you next to each other, like we'd be more fighting for space than we would be holding the controllers.
Yeah, and that's the problem that they've had with those machines, and also like they're at a weird price where they're $500 for a good chunk of them. That's still too much for like a casual person to invest in. But it's also not good enough.
The quality isn't good enough for a collector to grab.
Exactly. So they're in a weird spot, and they kind of need to figure out what to do. I always wanted one of those arcade cabinets, but when they announced the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, it immediately left my head that I wanted to get one of those.
And I mean this in the most genuine way possible, Michael. You're taller than these cabinets.
Yeah.
But if you go into an arcade, a real arcade, you're not taller than the cabinet.
And that's the thing that, well, I'm about the same.
You'd be as tall.
I'm 5'10", so people know I'm not like crazy short.
No.
Dave is just a giant. But yeah, no, like I remember the first time I saw an Arcade 1 cabinet, and it didn't have the little booster box that they sell separately, and that thing was just too tiny, like to where I think now all of their cabinets have that little booster box by default, which increased their price because they realized a lot of people are like, I'm not hunching over at this like 4'10" machine.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But yeah, Arcade 1-Up.
We'll have to dig into this a little bit more and see what's going on. Like,
because there's a lot of speculation.
Drop this question right in chat, and neither Michael nor myself had any kind of leeway or a chance to do some research on this at all. So.
Yeah, I've seen the speculation from a lot of YouTubers, but I couldn't find any like news sources that were outright saying they're in trouble outside of the layoffs from last year.
Right.
But yeah.
All right, so that is our show for this week. You can follow us on social media, the main account on Twitter at Digital Days Pod. You can follow Michael at The First MJC. You can follow myself at Good Dave Hunt. We have a Facebook group and a Discord server you can join. Emphasis on the Discord server. A little easier to see stuff. Some of the college football stuff is kind of ramping up. The collections are always ramping up. That college football game comes out like in 2 weeks.
So get that Dynasty League or Franchise League.
Yep, there's been some conversation around that. There's been some more features and marketing around that. So that's getting close. And then Patreon is there as well. So patreon.com/digitaldaysgaming. You can check out the tiers and choose to support or donate through there if you so choose. As always, listening and sharing and downloading the show is always super helpful. Please, again, consider leaving a review. It really helps us tremendously to hopefully reach more ears or eyes. So please consider leaving a review, and just double check on your Amazon subscription to us. If it's something you have your accounts linked, just doesn't auto renew. So just take it. We don't have to be live for you to do it. So please just consider checking it out. And then again, you can just visit digitaldays.com or in your podcast app that you're using in the show notes, and all the links or everything are there. So I hope everyone has a great week and keep moving forward.
Don't be a dick. See ya.